Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Ron Swanson, and we're here with Chloe from the Be Brave project, and we're going to go into her story, what led her up to creating her website and her whole movement. And Chloe, it's not the best story in the world. It's not, it's one of those ones. So, first of all, thank you for being here and giving up your time to come and talk to us. Can you tell everyone just a little bit about yourself before we delve into your story?
Yeah. So hi, I'm Chloe. I am I never know what to say when people ask me this. Who am I? I am a mum to a nearly 9-year-old daughter called B. I live in Surrey. I was an actor for a very, very long time, loved it. I've been doing this for the last not even a year now. So it's not been that long me speaking out about what happened to me and advocating and talking on podcasts, but now this is what I'm doing, and I'm absolutely loving it. So yeah.
Okay. Well, look, it's all your links are in the description. I fully, encourage everyone to go and make sure they're supporting you across all platforms. And take us through it all, Chloe. Take us through from the start of your story right up until the B project, if you can, or the
Yeah.
B project.
um yeah, sure. So as you said, it's not the nicest kind of story, but it's something that is very important to tell, I think. And so I'll start from the very beginning. So I'm a I've got two sisters. I came from a lovely house, a lovely family. I have an amazing mum and dad, very supportive. I've been to lots of different schools, so I'll kind of walk you all the way through it because it's very important to the story. So I started off at my primary school with my two sisters. It was very obvious and very evident that I was struggling. I was very, what they didn't know at the time, but now we know, what's called neurodiverse. I had very severe dyslexia, which again, they didn't know. And I was really struggling at school. And I was about 7 at the time, 7, nearly coming up 8. And I was really struggling with maths and English. And I was very behind all my peers. I also was very small, very tiny, even though I was around about 7, 8. I looked more like sort of a 5, 6-year old. I was teeny tiny, very quiet, very meek and mild, very introverted. So I was really struggling. And there's one very distinct moment in my life where I still remember to this day. I was in my class and we were doing a spellings test, and I got every single one wrong. And I got shoved up to the front of the class, and my teacher at the time tore up my book, threw it in the bin, and told me and pointed at me and said, you're so stupid, you'll never be anything, get out of my class. And I remember it. And I walked out that class and I bawled my eyes out. That night, my friend, because it happened in front of all the class, my friend told her mum, was very upset. Her mum then called my mum. This is what happened. My
Mm.
parents went in the next day. This shouldn't happen. What needs to be going on with Chloe? She's obviously struggling. So then the headmistress said, there's a really great school. I'm not going to name names because it's too identifying, but there's a really great school near where I was. But I'm going to say it was about half an hour away, 45 minutes with bad traffic away from where I lived at the time. But it's a really good school. It helps children like Chloe, children with neurodiverse needs. Children here had very bad dyslexia, ADHD, autism. It was a school specifically for children. So I left that school and I started at this other school. And like I said, it was about half an hour, 45 minutes away from where we lived. And I had two sisters. I have two sisters. My dad was working round the clock. He was always traveling. It was my mum at home with us three. So it was really hard to, like, the logistics of it, getting my two sisters to school and me to this new school. So this is kind of where the story starts, really. So there was a man called Andy who worked for my dad. He was a licensed taxi driver. He worked for the council, but he also worked for my dad. He was our private, or my parents' private chauffeur, I should say. Like, he took us to the airport. He did work for my dad's company. He was a courier. He took my uncle to lots of different appointments. He took my dad up to football. Like, he was a very, very trusted man within our family. We knew him. He'd been around for a couple of years.
Can I ask? Can I ask how his job
Mhm.
started off with your family? Did it start off very low key, and then
So
did it
he's
build up? Did he push his way through and get more and more sort of uh oh, what's the word I'm looking
Work.
for? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, to be honest, that would be a question for my parents. I'm not entirely sure. I do know that he was working with my dad.
Mhm,
And because he was then working for my dad trusted him.
mhm,
My uncle, my dad and my uncle owned the company, but my uncle, he had a lot of issues and troubles and he lost his license quite a lot of the time because of
mhm,
alcohol. So Andy would be his personal driver and take him to work and take him here and there. So I'm assuming like over time that trust built and built. And then it would be the taking us to the airport as a family. And he worked for my dad and he was a licensed taxi driver. And I think because he was a licensed taxi driver, even though we know that now, it doesn't really mean anything. But at the time, that was like a big thing. Like he was licensed, he was a trusted person. Um, so because of that, and because of the school that I was then at being half an hour, 45 minutes away, he then started to pick me up from school. And that is when this all kind of started. So I knew of him, I knew Andy. He wasn't picking me up every single night, it was sporadic, but it started to become more frequent. And I liked him. He was a really nice guy. I mean, he's obviously not a nice guy, but at the time I thought he was a nice guy. He was funny. He made me feel confident. And I kind of go back to where I started, where I was a very shy, introverted, neurodiverse little girl. I didn't have very many friends. I was, I don't want to say the word slow because that's not fair, but I wasn't as articulate. I didn't have a good vocabulary. I struggled a lot. So I think he knew that and he preyed on my vulnerability 100%. And because of that, I'd get in the car and he would tell me jokes and he would make me feel alive, I suppose, and kind of this really confident little girl that when I'm out of that car, I was this meek and mild, very small, very neurodiverse person. And he didn't make me feel like that. And as a child, you're going to gravitate to that. He was funny. He would get me gifts and chocolate and fizzy drinks. Again, something that I wasn't really allowed. I mean, I was allowed chocolate, but it was something that he would give to me as a sort of secret.
mhm.
I wasn't allowed to tell my mum and dad. It was our little secret. And that's kind of how it all started. And this is how these people start with the grooming. So yeah, it was the jokes. It was the allowing me to sit in the front as well of the car. So again, I had two sisters, two siblings. We were always arguing about who was going to be sitting in the front of the car. It was like this big thing. So when I was allowed to sit in the front of the car, I thought I was this really cool kid. Like it was cool. And he wanted to talk to me like I was an adult. And I was 9 at this point. I was 9 years old. And when you're 9 and you've got an adult talking to you like an adult, you feel really grown up and it was fun. And it started to get a little bit more inappropriate. So the jokes started to become rude jokes. There was lots of swear words in there. Then the jokes started to become about sex and about how men have sex and uh, all that
Do you
sort of.
remember roughly how long it took to go from safe place inside Andy's cab to the
Mm.
sexualized jokester? How long was that process? Do you remember?
I think it was a couple of months. It
Couple of
was a
months.
very, very slow, gradual process. It wasn't over a couple of weeks. He did it very slowly. He was very manipulative. He was very
Mhm,
clever. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was building my trust over a
mhm,
certain amount of time. So yeah, I would say a couple of months.
mhm.
And then it was starting to become a little bit more physical. So it would be, can you kiss me on the cheek? So I would give him a kiss on the cheek. It would be, can you hold my hand? So I would hold his hand. Then it would be, can you breathe in my ear? So I would breathe in his ear. And again, you've got to remember, I was around this time, I started at the school when I was 9. Around this time, I was sort of about 9.5, coming up 10. You've got to counter in, sorry. We got holidays. I didn't see him all the time. And yeah, so then it was the breathing in the ear. Didn't realize it was that weird at the time. And because we had this kind of really lovely relationship and I really liked him, I did it. I did what he asked me to do. And at this point, I didn't find it weird. I don't remember feeling uncomfortable at any point with him. He never made me feel scared. He never made me feel uncomfortable. He made me feel cool and grown up. And then I remember him discussing with me about his own personal relationships. So he would discuss with me, he would say, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm really tired." And I would say, "Oh, why are you tired?" "Oh, because I've been up all night having sex with my partner." And I'd be thinking, "Oh, okay." So he was the first person that ever taught me about what sex was and what it's meant to, what it is and what they do. I had no idea. And he would tell me all about certain things, positions, and acts that his partner would do on him and he would do on her. I do remember feeling relatively uncomfortable when he would tell me this sort of thing. But again, it was just words to me. And it was just very much like, oh, okay, cool. I don't really know. I didn't really understand what it all meant. And then I was about 10 and a half. And the school that I was at, this school that was for neurodiverse children,
Mhm.
it was great for me, but I was also falling quite far behind. And I think my parents could kind of see that. And I was showing a love for performing arts, something that I really loved doing. I loved dancing and singing and acting. It was something that I could express myself in. So my parents then decided to send me to a different school, which was even further away. It was about, I'm going to say about 50 minutes, something like that, probably even longer with traffic. It was a great school. I absolutely loved it. So at 10 and a half, I moved there. But because it was even further away, and then my two sisters at this point were at a different school, there was lots of different changes of schools. My
Mhm.
sisters were at a different school, which was in a completely opposite direction. Andy would start picking me up in the morning and dropping me to school and picking me up in the afternoon and dropping me either back home, or he would drop me back to my nan's house, or he would drop me to dancing. So when I started this school, it became every single day. I would see Andy now every day, and I was about 10 and a half. And that is when it really got a lot worse. And that's when the actual physical element came in. I need to be careful with what I say. I know that I can't say certain things,
Okay.
so I'm going to be really
Okay.
careful. But yeah, so I started this new school. I loved it. It was great for me. It had a very good dyslexic department as well, so it was really helping me with my neurodiverse needs. But it was a performing arts school, so I loved the dancing aspect of it and the singing and the acting. And Andy would take me and pick me up from school. The first time I remember it really becoming a thing is he picked me up and I was sitting in the front of the car and he said to me, "Oh, I'm just going to pull over. I've got something that I want you to see." And I said, "Oh, okay." He got out in the boot, got in the boot, and he said, "Oh, one of my clients has left their camcorder." This is back in the 90s, late 90s. So it was a big, bulky camcorder. And I had to look through the stem of the camcorder. And he said, "Oh, watch it." And I said, "Oh, okay." And I watched it. And I realized as soon as I started watching it, it was people having sex. And I didn't really know what to make of it, to be honest. I didn't want to watch it. And he said to me, no, carry on watching it, carry on watching it. I said, "Oh, okay." So I carried on watching it. And that's when the first physical touch happened. He put his hand on my leg. I didn't brush it away. I remember feeling really, oh, I don't know what to do. It was kind of a very freeze
Of course.
moment. I just froze. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to do anything. I think I was very shocked. And yeah, I was 10 and a half, coming up 11. I had no idea what to do with that sort of feeling. It felt weird. And yeah, so then it just got more and more physical. I don't really remember the moment from the camcorder and him touching my leg to him really touching me. I do remember a time where he used to say to me, "You need to take off your tights and take off your knickers," and I would do everything he asked me to do, and that's when the first time that he would touch my genitals, and I remember he would keep my knickers as well. He would take them home, and sometimes I would put them back on. Yeah, I don't know what else you want me to say
No,
about
no,
it. I
it's
don't
okay.
know.
I'm just sort of dealing with the rage of hearing what you've gone through, Chloe, to be perfectly honest. And the grooming process is so prevalent in this.
Yeah.
The gaining the trust with the sweets and the fizzy drinks and testing the water, slowly progressing through it all and the safe space and treating you like an adult. And did you, looking back, do you feel like this was his first attempt at grooming?
No.
Because to me, this is some top tier, well integrated tactics, you
Yeah.
know. And first of all, I'm so sorry that you had to go through anything like that. And
Thanks.
there's a special place in the blender for people like him. And how long did you carry this with yourself before you came forward, or anyone found out?
A really long time. So it went. The abuse carried on until I was nearly 13. I didn't tell anyone.
Shit.
He told me to not tell anyone. I remember there would be several times where he would. I do remember telling him, and I remember sort of threatening him, saying, "I'm going to tell someone," and he would say, "Well, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to hurt me? I thought you loved me. I thought you liked me." Another thing that I really want to say is why he has 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters. Again, I won't obviously disclose, it's not anything a part of the story, but one part, sometimes one of his daughters would be in the car whilst he was doing what he was doing. And she was very young. She was about 2.5. She would be in the back and I'd be in the front. Yeah. And he's a disgusting, disgusting man. And it's taken me a very, very long time to be able to say that, which probably sounds quite strange because
No, it doesn't.
you would think that I would hate him for such a long time, but I really didn't, because I did love him. I did care for this man. He made me care for him. I wanted him to do, after a while as well, when these people do what they do, it becomes something, because it was happening every afternoon, every time that he picked me up from school, it happened every time. So it become like this routine, really. I would expect it. And something that I've only really in the last year been able to sort of say out loud, that there was a part of me, and even now I still struggle to say it, but I didn't enjoy the abuse. That's not what I'm going to say, but you start to enjoy what they do because your body naturally responds to the stimulation, and it's something that you think that's normal. I thought it was normal. I
You're a
thought this
little
is what,
girl, Chloe.
yeah,
You're a little
I'm
girl.
a, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
It'd be different if you were in your mid-30s and this was happening. You know, you're a
Yeah.
little girl, okay? Regardless of how you felt then, it makes no difference, okay? Because you
Yeah.
were a little girl who was preyed upon. And, oh man, this is why, ladies and gentlemen, Ron hunts these people on the internet and doesn't meet them in person, okay? Because uh, would just it would just end wonderfully for them. So, okay. So I'm imagining this guy's still out walking free, living his life with his 2 daughters, right?
No, he's not.
Okay,
He is
great.
in prison. He
We'll
is in
get to that.
prison.
Okay, well then let's build. We'll get to that. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if he was, Ron was about to make some phone calls. You know what I'm saying? Listen. First of all, so just hats off to you for getting through all of that. Okay, I know you said to me before the show you weren't really used to doing live shows and things like that. You're smashing it out the park. You're doing fantastic. Okay,
Thanks.
um, are you okay? Do you need a minute or anything like that? Are you okay? I
No,
know.
no, I'm all
Okay,
good. I'm all good.
I'm just waiting for the cat to go flying across the back of the living room here. Uh, so again, let's just recap.
Hmm.
You met Andy after having to go to this new school after this horrible moment with your teacher, right? You said you were about
Yeah.
8 years old.
Yeah.
So your relationship with Andy was on and off for like 2.5 years before the real serious stuff happened. The
Hmm.
grooming, the mental abuse, the inappropriateness, the secrets between adults and children
Hmm.
never should have happened. Okay.
Yeah.
It took about 2.5 years till it hit the physical stuff, right? And that then continued for another 2.5 years. That's like 5 years. That's almost half your life at this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for a little girl, and trust me, I was that neurodiverse kid, okay, that struggled making friends, that couldn't spell anything. I got stress related asthma because of one of my teachers bringing me to the front of the class and putting a B and a D on the desk so that I knew which way around letters went. Like, I get it. Luckily, I live 2 minutes from my house, so it was just a case of walking home. But there was some weirdness that went on, not with me and not in the school, but with some of the staff outside of the school. And not again, not with me. And I get it. All right, I get it. The safe place that you found and being accepted, and I get it. Okay, and it's a trap, and it's not even a trap you fell into. It was the guy you worked for your dad that was picking you up, and do you see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like, so there's even those so many further layers of insta trust that came from you, Chloe. Right? Oh, it's
Yeah.
my dad. It works with my dad, drives us all around. Why wouldn't you feel like that was a safe place?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so look, as long as you're okay, let's continue. So, um, this has went on, and these horrible things are happening. When did it end? Like, when did the taxi service scenario end? And when did anyone find out about this? I've already asked you this? Has my own rage made me forget if I've asked you? Uh,
I think you have, but then you said we'll go back. So,
yeah. Okay.
it went on until I was nearly 13,
Mm,
and the only reason it stopped is because I'd finished school in the July for the summer holidays. It was 2001. And when I went back to school in the September of 2001, my mum was then able to take me to and from school because my two sisters, who were at a different school, were old enough and got a space on a coach to take
mm,
them to and from school.
okay.
So my mum started to be able to take me and pick me up. And
That's
I remember loving it. I was like, yes, I don't have. It's a really weird feeling because even though I really loved him and I liked being with him and I liked spending time with him, which is weird, I know, I also was so relieved when my
of
mum was
course.
able to take me to and from school. And it was very much, I was coming up 30. I was then 13 in that November. Still very young. I just thought, oh, it's over now. I don't have to think about it.
Mhm,
It's done. I don't have to
mhm.
worry about it now. But obviously we know that that's not how trauma works. It
That's not
doesn't
how it
just
works. I'm
go
still here,
away.
by the way. I'm just putting my hair up because the
Oh, it's
rage
okay.
is making my whole head just too hot.
But it doesn't do that. But at the naive age of 13, I thought, oh, well, I don't have to see him ever again, so that's it. I
Yep.
don't have to worry about it. So I'm not going to tell anyone because he also told me not to. No one's going to believe me. It's done now.
Again, though,
He
13, it's articulating it all too.
Yeah, I
You know what
didn't
I'm
have the
saying?
language. And also this is back in the early 2000s. We didn't have, I mean, whether we did we have the internet in 2000? Maybe I don't think so. We didn't have smartphones, we
I think
didn't have
we did.
phones.
I think we did a little bit.
Maybe, or it's just
A
coming in.
smidgeroo. Yeah.
Yeah, but there was nothing around, not like we have now. And I didn't know who to go and tell or what the language was. I didn't
Mm,
think I even knew that it was CSA. I didn't have that language to say, oh, I'm a victim of CSA. I'm a victim of grape. Like, I didn't have that language. So I didn't. I just thought, oh, it's fine. Like, it's done. My mum's picking me up. I'm safe now. I never have to see him again. And he worked for my dad for a little bit longer, but then he did leave. And I to this day, I actually don't know why he did leave. It wasn't anything to do with what happened to me, because no one knew. I think for whatever reason, my dad got rid of him. So then we never saw him again. And that was that.
Did your dad own the car that you were getting transported about?
No, that was his car.
That was his
It
car.
was,
So
yeah,
nothing
Andy's
your
car.
dad couldn't have found,
No,
oh, I don't know, a pair of tights of yours in the vehicle or anything like that.
no, no, no. It was nothing. It was just very much like, that's
Just
it.
one of those things.
And
Yeah.
um and that
Okay.
was really it. I never saw him again. And I was, like I said, I was coming up 13. I got on with my school life. I was thriving at school. The school that I was at now had that dyslexic department. It was musical theatre. I was coming into my own. I was getting better in my academic work due to my dyslexic department and my teachers. I was thriving. I had a lot more friends. I was a little bit more outward. I was a bit more out, I was still very introverted and I was still very
Mm.
shy, but I was becoming someone that I thought that was going to be Chloe. Uh, but like I said, we all know that trauma doesn't work like that. And it was eating me alive. I didn't sleep very well. Would go to sleep and I would have really bad nightmares, but I never told anyone about it. I never spoke to my mum, my dad, my sisters until I was 15, and my sister, who is
Mhm.
2 years younger than me, she moved school, and she then went to the school that I was at.
Mm,
And
okay.
it was a great school, and we boarded. There was boarding. You didn't have to do it all the time. You could just do a few days here and there, especially if we had dance class really late. So this one night,
Just to double check, is just to reiterate, school
yeah,
was great, no issues with the school,
yeah,
just Andy, right?
yeah,
He's the only
yeah,
problem, just so we know.
yeah.
And when you
Yeah.
heard that school name be mentioned again, did that just take you back to being with Andy in your mind? Or were
Yeah.
you excited for your sister? Was it a very difficult sort of process for you when you heard the school come up?
No, not too much. It was okay. I was still there. So it was
Yep.
we were at the school together. I quite
Okay.
liked the fact that she was there with me. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I was still there, and I hadn't really no, it was okay.
And with the
Um,
boarding side of things, did you find yourself like, did you disassociate with your family in any way? Were you finding yourself wanting to be away from home, or did you want to be back at home more? What was your mindset with the option of the boarding?
I quite liked the boarding, to be
Mhm,
honest. I didn't mind it. I've always been a loner. I've always liked being on my own and in my own company. So I didn't really it didn't really bother me, the boarding, and because I was so established at this school by then. I'd been there since I was in year 5, and when my sister came, I was 15, so I was in year 10.
mhm.
So I'd been there for quite a few years, and I loved the school. It was a very small school as well. I loved it. I knew all the teachers, they knew me, so I felt quite comfortable. And like I said, I love doing my dancing and my singing and my acting. It's something that I could escape to.
Mhm.
And so the boarding was not too bad. I didn't mind it, but I did love going home as well. I
Yep,
loved,
yep.
and one thing I really want to reiterate is that even though I didn't say anything to anyone, I have an amazing relationship with my family. I always did. My mum and my dad were very close. My sisters are very close. There wasn't any part of me that didn't say anything because I felt like I couldn't.
Mhm.
I just
It's how
didn't.
but again, it's how does a 13-year-old
Mm,
process it all? Do you
yeah.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And with the way it was done as
Yeah.
well, the like,
Yeah.
let's not even start going into how you would
And
have
I think
felt.
there's also like a point where, because it finished, I thought, oh, what's the point of bringing it up now? Because he's not here anymore. So there's no point. What and who's going to believe me? I think there was a massive element of no one's going to believe what I'm saying. Why would they? Because he did say that to me as well. No one's going to believe you. Who's going to believe you? No one's going to believe you. Why would you want to do that? So again, as a child, I'm going to believe what he's saying.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell anyone until I was 15, and then we were at boarding, and my sister was there, and we were in the same room, and I can't remember why I said it. I genuinely don't know, but we had a bunk bed, and she was underneath, and I was at the top of the bunk bed, and we were about to go to sleep, and I just blurted out, and I said, "Do you remember Andy?" She said, "Yeah," and I said, he I don't remember what language I used. I really don't. I don't think I used CSA. He CSA'd me. I don't think I did that. I think I said he touched me, maybe.
Sure, sure.
Um, I can't really remember. And she cried. She burst out crying. She said, "You need to tell someone." I said, "No, I don't want to tell anyone. Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone." And she didn't, bless her heart. She didn't say anything. And then that was it. I didn't say anything to anyone for a few more years. I just went on. I think it was building up and building up, and I just had to sort of blurt it out. And she was the person, unfortunately, that kind of heard it.
Hmm.
And then I was 18. The next time I told someone, it was a friend. Again, very similar kind of conversation. She said, "You need to go to the police." I said, "No, I don't want to. Don't tell anyone." "Okay, I won't tell anyone." And then the next time I told someone was when I told the police in 2017. So it was a very long time till I held on to it.
Well, I mean,
And I
think about
didn't.
it, right? You've got this 13-year-old version of you processing it. You've got the 15-year-old version of you processing it. You've then got the adult mind starting to develop at 18,
Mhm.
processing it. It's,
Yeah.
like, it's not until you speak to somebody like yourself that you get an understanding of just how long the processing period from child to an adult brain goes. And even when
Mhm.
you're at 18 and 15, 16, you know that something wrong took place, right?
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just, how do you find the bravery and capacity to do something about it? You know,
Yeah. I don't
it's
think I
crazy.
did. I didn't have that braveness. I don't Is that a word? I don't think I had it.
It is now,
But
Chloe.
yeah. um I didn't have it. And I think like I've mentioned before, I genuinely think it comes down to the language. I didn't have the language. How do you go, "Oh, by the way, mum, this is what happened"? How do you do that? I think I genuinely also think I thought I was going to be okay. I thought it's going to be fine. I'm fine. And for the most part, I really was pretending that I was okay. I was very good at masking that I was fine. I
Mhm,
was very good at masking when I was a child.
mhm.
I'm still very good at it. It's a neurodiverse thing.
Years of
Very
practice,
good.
Chloe, of blending in with the normies. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was very good at it. So I just pretended that I was okay. And like I said, for the most part, I was. There were days where I had good days, and I got on with my life, and I became an actor, and I absolutely loved it. And I was very fortunate. I got an agent I left school at 17. I went to college, I didn't really like it. Again, academics was not really my thing. I then went to Disneyland and worked as a princess for 4 months. Absolutely loved
Wow.
it. I lived in Paris. It was great. One of the best times of my life. Then I came back, and then I
We're going to be
joined.
circling back to that at the end of the show. Just so you know, we're definitely circling back to that at the end of the show. Um, yeah,
uh,
carry on with what you were saying. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So yeah, I loved being in Paris, and I think that was part of when I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to be a performer. And it was an escape for me. And without blowing my own trumpet, I was good. I was good at it. It was the only thing that I was good at, and the only thing that I knew how to do. Everything else I struggled so much with. So dancing, singing, and acting was something where I thought, actually, I'm good at this, and no
It's
one's.
professional masking, Chloe.
Exactly.
Like,
Um,
if it's, I was the same, right? I was the actor kid at school. Like, I wanted to just act. That's all I wanted to do was act and act and act, because it was easy when someone handed you on paper how
yeah,
you have to be, right? It's
yeah.
so easy, right? And you fall into it. Oh, you're such a natural, and it's like, yeah, I've been doing this since I could think, mate. Do you know what I mean? So
That's
I get
so
it.
true.
It's
That's
so
so true.
true. It really
Yeah.
is. And it's a comfort, because people
Yeah.
tell you how good you are at it. Do you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? From going from your whole life being told how bad you are at being you, and now
Mhm.
all of a sudden you're amazing. I get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Um, so we've left school. All right.
Yep.
We went to Paris.
Yep.
We're all going to listen. Don't tell us what princess. You can all start
Can
guessing what
guess.
princess, right? Um, Guessed at the end. And like, did you feel for the first time you could put this almost behind you? Did you feel like this made you forget more, or was this the period where it was amping up that you wanted justice?
Um, there was never an element of I want justice.
Right.
I never really thought about that.
Hmm.
I genuinely think because I didn't think that that was a possibility.
Hmm.
Uh, it was affecting me, but it was affecting me in very different ways. And at that time, I didn't realize. Now I do. So another thing that I talk about very openly about it is I became, and I think people that have been SA'd, have
Hmm.
gone through CSA, they have kind of two ways. They either go one extreme where they become very hypersexual, or they're very much like they don't want to be touched. I was the other. I was the first one.
Okay.
So I thought that that is what men wanted. I thought that's what I was kind of here to do, to literally do what they ask me to do. Um, and I used my body and my sexuality. I had an element of control over that. And because I'd lacked that for so many years, I then had that control. And
Did you feel
it
like it
was,
was a power that you developed?
yeah, definitely. I 100%. I had a power over men that I never had. And I'm not afraid to say it. I absolutely hated men. I hated them. I was scared of them. I had no respect for them. I didn't think that they had any respect for me, which they didn't. And that's the thing. I got myself into a lot of situations, something that I'll probably talk about in a minute. But I, it
Did,
was the only way that I had the control.
I was going to say, did you feel by being so over the top with it that you felt there was no way for harm to come to you because you were offering everything up? I
Yeah.
get. I mean, I may not be wording that in the most respectful way, but
No.
you know what I'm trying to get at, right?
Yeah, I
Mm.
do. I think yeah, you said it correctly. Absolutely. It was very much like this is my choice. So before that they take it from me, I'm going to give it to them because then it's
Did,
my control.
did
I've got the
this
control.
did this all start when you became a grown up and headed off on the plane? And I assume it was that departure from the home life where you
Yeah.
felt like this is when it all kicked off, right? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. Right, okay.
Yeah. Very much, very much so. Moving to Paris
Hmm.
was a part of that. I was away from my family. I was like, wow, this is what adults do. This is amazing. And again, don't get me wrong, I had amazing time. I had fun.
Hmm.
And I think, most sort of 18-year-old, 19-year-olds, we do, that's what you're meant to do. You're meant to experiment and go out and have the fun. But I think I took mine to, you know, another level. Um, but I didn't realize it at the time.
Hmm.
I didn't think it was an issue. So I came back from Paris, had a great time, went to college. I was there for 18 months. It was a drama college, absolutely loved it, got great training. Then was like, right, this is what I want to do. I want to be an actor. This is what I want to do. I'm going to go into professionally. And I managed to get an agent, and I did. I did exactly that. I got amazing jobs, and I was doing very, very well. I went to LA, I went to New York, I got lots of parts. I was on the TV, and it was great. I absolutely loved it. But
How was
all
LA?
while, oh, LA was great. I loved LA.
Yeah.
I was actually before this sort of happened back in 2017. I had all my papers ready. I was going to go out and live there,
Mm.
and I
Okay.
was ready. I was ready to up and leave. And I think there's an element of why I wanted to get out because everything was really struggling. But I'll come to that
Sure. Of course.
nearer the time. But I loved LA. I loved it. It was great. Prefer New York, actually. I think
Yeah.
if I was going to go anywhere, I'd be New York. Um, but yeah, I was doing really well. I was very successful, and I met a lot of people in the industry, and I was loving life. However, there was still that he was still there,
Hmm.
and he was still causing all the issues. and my anxiety started getting really bad. I was drinking far too much, but I was doing it in a very secretive way. So if I always remember my mum and dad, when I was like, this was maybe like my early 20s, my mum and dad would say to me, well, you don't like alcohol. And we're thinking, yeah, I do.
Can I
I
ask you
absolutely love it.
something? See, on the build up to you vocalizing this as an adult and the drinking, was there ever a point where you felt like you were seeing him in crowds?
Yeah, all the
Yeah,
time.
all the time.
Hmm.
Did that worsen
Hmm.
over time? It did, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And did you feel like that was your mind pushing you to get all of this information out?
I think so.
Hmm.
Yeah, I hadn't processed anything. It
No,
was
definitely.
very much like it was like a switch. I just turned it off and thought I'll be okay. I hadn't I hadn't had therapy. I hadn't processed what he'd done. I still didn't have that language. I didn't really know the extent of what he had done. So I think it was my brain and my body kind of going, you need to think about it. You need to do something about this because it's not going away. He's not going away.
Hmm.
And he didn't. Yeah, I saw him. I thought I saw him all the time. I did see him actually physically several times. He only lives the town over. I remember seeing him in his car having a full-blown panic attack, uh, wondering if I was going to see him out. I remember going into London a lot and being out clubbing and having full-blown panic attacks because and I didn't like being in big crowds. I still don't. I get very bad social anxiety if I'm around loads of people because I used to think if he's here, I'm not going to see him, or even though rationally he wouldn't be there. He was this big, fat, ugly, disgusting man. Like he wouldn't have been up in London at a club, but my brain
No,
wasn't thinking like that.
no, I get it, and it's why I asked, because the mind does things, doesn't it? It
Mm,
does things to. Was your mind showing you that to remind you of business that needs to be dealt with? Was your mind showing you that to get you out of the situation you're in?
mm,
It's whatever the reason is. It's such a prevalent factor in so many stories,
yeah.
and I often wonder if our increase in behavior we know we shouldn't do and the increase of these moments where you think you see things have a very adjoining line on the graph of things, if that makes sense. It's almost
Hmm.
like it all gets too much all at once across the board, and it's that catastrophic, the full ground breaking away from underneath you,
Yeah.
that is the final straw.
Yeah. That is ultimately what happened. Like it is. It was just it was building and building and building and building silently in the background.
So
I'd get up every day.
that's when people say, ladies and gentlemen, the person lived inside my head. This is it in a nutshell,
Mm.
what Chloe's saying. And it's horrible. It really is infuriatingly horrible that this is what you went through. And someone in the side chat, I think it was, I can't pronounce your name, Aztec, let's go with that. He said, the real men are listening. And he nailed it because, like,
Love that.
I don't get. Anyway, I'm not going to trigger Ron. Ron's just going to carry
Mm.
the interview. So yeah, carrying with what you were saying, Chloe, like it had been building up and building up, and now I think we're at the point. In fact, I think you were still talking about the drinking and
Yeah.
that of your life. So just carry on. I'm sorry for side question again.
No, no, you're fine. Uh, yeah, it was. I was out drinking all the time. Drinking was the way that I could become someone completely different but I still had that element of control of how much I was drinking. And again, the sleeping with men was something that I had the control over.
Mhm.
It was building and building and building. I had unimaginable anxiety. It was just awful. I would have panic attacks pretty much every single day. But again, I didn't really know that they were panic attacks. I know that they were now, but at the time, I didn't really know. I used to think that I had asthma because I couldn't breathe. I used to think that I would be having a heart attack. It was awful. But again, I was like you said, I was living in my own head. I didn't tell anyone about it. It was affecting my relationships. I had boyfriends. I they weren't great relationships. They didn't treat me particularly well. I didn't treat them particularly well because I didn't know how to. I was going through so much. Like, it just, when I think back at it, I think, God, poor Chloe. Like, I just, if I could go back and wrap my arms around her and give her a hug, I would, because she was just going through so much and she didn't know how to talk about it and deal with it. And like a sort of fast forward to sort of about 2014. A lot of people may be watching, especially in the UK, that the Jimmy Savile stuff was coming out. That was back in he died in 2012, I think.
Yeah, I
And
know.
then all of the stuff, the Jimmy Savile case and the Rolf Harris, all of that was in the press everywhere. Everywhere you looked, it was about them and about what they did and the victims and the survivors.
Mm.
And it was bringing up a lot of stuff. And I remember seeing a headline saying historic CSA. And I thought, I think that's me. I think I'm a historic
Yep.
CSA survivor
It
or
was it
victim.
was 2012, by the way. Well done.
Yeah. So it was all coming out. I then did seek some help, again, very secretively. There's a few places in the UK that you can go to. I reached out to a few, and there's one actually sent a letter. And at this point, I was living back at my parents' house. And they sent a letter, and on the letterhead, it had the charity that it was, and it says what it is underneath. It's for CSA and GRAPE and SA survivors. And my mum, I wasn't at home at the time. My mum saw it, and obviously, as a mum, you see a letter that's got that at the top, and you've got your daughter's name. She opened it, and I don't blame her for that. If that was my kid, I'd open it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think all of us
I think so.
would do the same. Yeah, so big
Um,
shout out, mum. Okay, shout
yeah.
out, mum. No harm, no harm, no
Shout
foul.
No, exactly. So she opened it. She saw the letter. She's gone running upstairs to my sister's room. My sister, the one, because I've got two sisters, the one
Yep.
that knows or knew, and she was going, "What is this? What is this? What is this? Tell me, do you know anything about this? Do you know anything about this?" And my sister said, "Yeah, no, I do." And she went, "Who is it? Who is it? Is it dad? Is it this?" And she started reeling off all these people that, and she went,
Just
"No."
yeah, panicking.
Yeah, she went, "No, it's Andy." And my mum went, "Who? What? Andy?" She went, "What?" And it just all came crashing down around her. But then my sister said, "Mum, you can't tell her. You know, she doesn't want you to know. She doesn't want you to know. She doesn't, she's," and I didn't want to tell my
Good luck with
parents.
that. Good luck convincing mum to keep a
No,
lid
no,
on that. Did she do
no.
it? Oh, she did it.
Yeah, my mum respected that. And she didn't tell me that she knew for 9 months. So my poor mum walked around knowing that this had happened to me, but was waiting because she wanted it to come from me. She didn't want,
No, I get it. I
you
get it.
know.
Mhm.
And I was an adult
I'm
at this
from
point. It
Scotland. That's
wasn't.
the problem. It's a Scottish thing, right? We our level, our ability to keep our cool is just a little different. Big, massive props to your sister and your mum. And don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, there's people out there that would be saying, "Oh, well, if they just said something, if it," and I get that. That's not this story. Okay,
Hmm.
this is very much Chloe's story, and you know, you never know what might have happened. A 13-year-old Chloe, or sister, or a 15-year-old Chloe, sorry, um, her sister going and telling the school, right? And you not being able to process that. And we see so many young people who unalive themselves from
Hmm.
not being able to process the embarrassment. We see
Yeah.
it time and time again with things like the extortion that happens to teenagers over the internet. There was a little 15-year-old boy unalived himself in Fife about 10 years ago. It's so sad, right? It's
Hmm.
so sad when this thing happens to people who are so young. So it might be easy for you all to sit in, and no one's saying that, by the way. I'm just getting ahead of the comment section. Um, you just never know, and
No.
a horrible scenario. It played out how you needed to play out for you. So
Yeah.
anyway, mum's
And you
found out.
don't know. Yeah, and you don't know if you're in that situation. You have no idea what you're going to do. Everyone will do something completely different. And
Mhm.
do I wish that I'd gone back and said something? Of course. My
Oh,
whole
yeah, I
life would be
mean, we
very
all wish
different.
our,
You
our
know,
our fully
hindsight.
developed adult mind could be
Yeah.
rammed into our prepubescent self, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, that would be great. Far less whimsical. okay, of her
Mhm.
childhood, right? But way better decision making. So I get it, and it's so. Listen, unless you know,
Mhm.
you can't say anything. So
Yeah.
I get it. So I mean, hats off to mum for 9 months. So
Yeah.
that's where we
9
left.
months.
Let's pick up there.
Yeah. So 9 months, and I was then in a restaurant with my sister, and we were just chatting, and she said, we were talking about it, and she went, "Yeah, but mum said this." And I went, "What do you mean mum said this? She doesn't know." And she went, and I could see like the light just dropped out of her
Mhm,
face. She went, "No, she knows." And then she told me the whole situation.
mhm,
I went home. I said to my mum, "I know you know." We cried a lot, a lot.
mhm,
Uh, she said to me, "Do you want to go to the police?" And I said, "No, I don't." I wasn't ready to do it. And I think also a huge part of when you go through something like this, CSA or SA, so much blame that you put on yourself and so much shame around it.
mhm.
And I was embarrassed. I didn't think people were going to believe me. I thought potentially people would think, well, it was her fault because she didn't say anything and she allowed it. And so I wasn't ready. And my mum knew that. And again, because I was an adult, she had to respect my wishes. And I said, no, I'm not ready. And at this point as well, my career was taking off. I didn't want to be that girl that was, or that woman that was, oh, it's the actress Chloe that's been CSA'd. I didn't want that. I didn't want that to be part of my identity at this point. So having my mum know, though, helped. She helped me. She helped me a lot through those couple of years. I then did go to a few therapy sessions. I didn't like it. Again, I wasn't ready. I
Mhm,
didn't want to bring it. I wasn't ready to bring it all up because every time you go in for especially talking therapies, you have to start talking about it. And I
mhm,
didn't want to. I was still very much like, nope, suppress it, suppress it, suppress it. Uh, and then kind of fast forward a few more years, really struggling, a lot of anxiety, relationships were really bad. I was in very bad sort of relationships with guys. They didn't treat me very well. It was all kinds of not good. And then in 2017, March 2017, it all just got too much. It was, again, like I was talking, it's building and building and building. My anxiety was really bad. I wasn't eating. I had depression. I didn't want to be around people. I wanted to just be on my own. Uh, I just wasn't very happy. I wasn't happy. I was in a quite a toxic relationship. He didn't really understand how to kind of deal with what I was going through. He did know. I had told him briefly, but he didn't understand like how to deal with it. And that wasn't on him really to understand. And I get that now. But at the time, I was very much like, why are you not there supporting me? And but again, I didn't. I wanted people to support me, but I also didn't allow them to support me at the same
yeah,
time. It was
yeah.
very much one of those like, how dare you? You're not doing it right. Like, you're not
Mhm,
supporting me, but I don't want you to support me. Leave me alone.
mhm,
So it's very confusing for people on the outside how to deal with that. So 2017, I watched a program. It was about CSA, and I thought it was like a trigger. And I then went to the doctors. The doctors weren't that helpful, very much like, oh, let's put you on antidepressants and we'll put you on the wait list. It's like, brilliant. I need some help now. And also, that when you're ready to talk, when you've been through something like this, you're ready to talk. You want to talk now. Because if you don't talk now, you're not going to talk. So I was like, I need to speak to someone. So I came home. My mum said, why don't you call the NSPCC helpline? And I remember saying, that's for children. She went, no, 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 call the NSPCC helpline. So I did. I was on the phone to a guy for about an hour and a half. The first time I had actually explained everything that had happened in every single little detail. He was absolutely incredible. He was so amazing. And it was the first time that I actually felt, even though I knew my mum believed me and my sister believed me, but hearing it from someone else that wasn't my family going, I believe you,
mhm.
was everything that I needed to hear. And he said to me, you need to call the police. And I said, I don't want to. And he said, no, do it because this is what will happen. Whether it was adrenaline or whether it was because I was ready, I put the phone down with the NSPCC, and within about 10 minutes, I'd called the police. And within about half an hour, I had two police officers around my parents' house taking my statement. And it was all kind of just spiraled from there. And it was a lot. It's a whole other part of the story.
That's all right.
It,
Just take your time with it. We've got as much
it,
time as you need. Don't worry.
it was a lot, because you go through an investigation. It was a lot of questioning, a lot of back and forth with
Mhm.
what happened. And I hadn't really processed what had happened to me. I hadn't really lived it. So all of a sudden in 2017, I was reliving everything. I was in a very toxic relationship. I then fell pregnant with my now daughter. So I was going through this investigation. I was processing everything that happened to me as a child, everything that happened to me as an adult, also going through not a great relationship and being pregnant for the first time. It was a whole lot of emotions.
How old were you at this point?
2017, I was 28.
28. Okay.
Yeah, 28. Uh, it was a lot. I was still living with my parents. I then got a detective on the case. It was back and forth. I did about 3 statements where you
Mhm.
go into a room, they have a camera recorder, and you have to go through absolutely every detail. It was horrific. It
Mhm.
was really, really horrific. The whole thing, the investigation up until it went to court, lasted nearly 3 years. So from
Did you
2000,
feel like
March to,
did you feel like giving up at any point? Did it
oh,
become so
all the
much that
time.
you
Yeah,
yeah,
all the time. And also, I was told quite a lot of the time, don't get your hopes up. Don't get your hopes up. It might not go to CPS. Don't get your hopes up. It might not go to court. Don't get your hopes up. He probably won't get found guilty. It was always this, don't get your hopes up, it might not happen, because we know that statistics of this sort of thing, they don't normally get to court, and even if they do, the likelihood of you getting a guilty verdict is very slim. So I think the detective on my case was trying to prepare me, but also it wasn't great. He wasn't very trauma informed. He used very bad language a lot of the time. I remember he was arrested and let out on bail, and they said to me, the detective said to me, oh, he seems like a really nice guy. It's like, oh, well, he probably does. He's not going to say, oh, yeah, I did it.
yeah.
I,
It's a great detective work,
yeah,
detective. Great
yeah.
detective work. Uh-huh.
So,
Brilliant.
yeah, it lasted nearly 3 years. And in that time, I was pregnant. I then had my daughter at the end of 2017. I was a new mum. I was going through all this emotions. I'm pretty sure I had a little bit of postnatal depression. I didn't really know how to deal with my ex. He then became my ex, her dad. It was a hell of a lot. It was really hard, really hard. And there were, gosh, so many times where I really didn't want to carry on, not just with the case, but just in life. I
Sure.
didn't want to. And the only reason I'm here, and I say it to her, and I always get emotional when I say this sort of stuff, but the only reason I am here is because of her, is
Mhm.
because there were so many times where I thought, I can't continue, I can't go on. And I would take myself off to the bathroom. I'd look at my pills that I had and I'd go, just, why not? And then I would look back and I would see her little face and I'd think, I can't do that, because I can't do that to her. So I didn't. And I genuinely believe that if she wasn't here, I don't think I would be sat here right now. Because it was horrific. And I had some support. My family were amazing, but they didn't also know how to deal with it. They didn't have any support through the whole thing. My parents were witnesses. They had no witness support. It's horrific. It was horrific. And I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy apart from him. I wouldn't wish it upon anyone going through that. It is it's awful.
And listen, let me just sort of appear into that timeline of your life for a moment. The drinking, the nightmares, the seeing him everywhere. How were those three things during those 3 years?
Uh, Drinking actually kind of stopped. I didn't
Mhm.
go out because I became a mum. I wasn't able to go out as
Sure.
much. Um, Flashbacks, nightmares were horrific. I didn't sleep. I had insomnia. I would think that I would see him everywhere I went.
Yeah.
I stayed very close to where my parents were. I'd never really went out. I went out a few times, but I always remember coming up to my 30th birthday. So she was one, she'd turned one or coming up turning one. And I went out to London with my two sisters and I was so excited to turn 30 and I had a massive panic attack and I didn't want to be there. I just get me home. I can't be out around people. I just wanted to be at home with my mum and dad in a safe place that I knew. And I remember a few other times that I went out with my friend. We went out, we all got dressed up and we looked amazing. And it was, I was a mum, so I didn't go out that often. So when I did go out, it was an amazing thing. And we all got dressed up and we all went out drinking. We went to a bar in London. And again, I had a huge panic attack and we had to come home. And I felt really bad because obviously going out and I remember her mum, she was lovely. We told her that we were coming home because I had this panic attack. And we got in our PJs and she made us hot tea and toast and she said it's okay. And that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to be out. I couldn't do it. So it was not good. And then I also got very sick as well. Physically, I was mentally very sick, but physically I got very sick. I was in and out of hospital. I lost a lot of weight. They didn't really know what was going on with me. I think it was all connected to the trauma.
Of course.
And I don't know
You
if anyone's
you think
yeah.
maybe, Chloe, all of this had something to do with the trauma. I'm
Yeah.
thinking maybe a smidgen of this was to do with the trauma. This is oh God, honestly, right? When people are trying to get it out, okay, and then you have some guy throughout the whole process going, "Oh, by the way, don't get your hopes up." Okay,
Hmm.
let's just relive the trauma again. Don't get your hopes up. Brilliant, super.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. And when trauma's coming out, I mean, it's all of the little things, right, that we've been put in the back of our mind for now, what, 14 years ish,
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
years, right?
No, about 17 years, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
17 years, right? All of them are now the star of the show. Okay,
Hmm.
they're all fully, they are here and they are coming out. You're acknowledging them for the first time. There's no masking, there's no booze, there's no bed hopping, metaphorically speaking. It is, and now you're a mum, right? So you are cooked as far as your brain dealing with all of this. So I just want to say it's just incredible, right? The woman that sat in front of us now. Okay. Just hearing up to this part of the story. And you give yourself credit for that, right? You gotta accept that you have you've done an incredible journey, Chloe. And to be sat here the way you are is just it's a testament to people being able to process and do things in their own manner. Because
Yeah.
could you imagine if all of this had happened when you were 16? All of this process, the detectives, all of it. I mean,
Hmm.
it just, it's anyway. Sorry for derailing again.
No, you're fine.
Um, I very rarely get. I mean, I've teared up twice. Okay, and I never get like this during podcasts, and uh, the process that people always, when it comes to their story, they go through the process of the detective part, but they never really dial in on the effect that has on people. And I think it's important for people who don't understand reliving all of this. People hear that, oh, I'm reliving something. That's fine when you're had a normal life and you're reliving like memories with your gran, right? Or like down the beach. But this is a whole different realm of masking and hiding things inside your brain. It really is. And the way that
Hmm.
it all comes out, people don't give themselves enough credit for getting through that, Chloe.
I think so. I think, and at the time I didn't. I do now, but I still even find it difficult hearing it from people because I think, oh no, don't. I'm not like, and
I get
I've
that.
got the I've got the Be Brave project, and it's all about being brave and speaking up and getting this platform for other survivors. But then when people say to me, "Oh, you're so brave," I think, no, I'm not. Don't call me that. Don't call me brave. I'm not that brave. I've just I've just had to survive something because I had to,
Mhm.
and it's but I always call other people so brave, and then I think, well, why am I not calling myself that? I need to give myself a little bit more credit. But it's always, for anything, it's hard to give yourself the praise that you should be giving, that you give to other people. You never, it's always harder. It's
I
always
get
easier
that.
to
I
take.
get that. But are you one of
Yeah.
these people that notices every failure in life that you do?
Oh
And
yeah.
listen, exactly. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We're we've our brains are very similar here. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's and people tell me that I do good things, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like
Mm.
I did one thing wrong this week, and now that's my entire focus. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
I
so
failed this, so then I'm a failure. But
yeah,
actually,
100%.
remembering that what you've done, and it's funny because I have a channel on Instagram, and I've gained all these followers, and I have this, and I say it, but then I'm thinking, well, why am I not saying it to myself? Why
You
am I
don't have
not
to
saying
say
it to
it to yourself
myself?
as long as you believe it about yourself. That's all that matters.
I think
Uh,
I'm getting there. It's taken me a long time to get here. It's not been an easy road.
mhm.
But I am, yeah, yeah. I mean, even like sitting here now, I'm thinking, oh, I'm great. This is great. I wouldn't have been able to have done this even a
Can I,
year
can I
ago.
just ask, is the sun currently burning your corneas out? Do you want to
Yeah,
take, do you want to like close a blind or something? Because I can see you sitting
it's
there cooking. You are
blinding me.
literally cooking,
Yeah.
right? Do you want to go and just like, I don't
Can
know.
I?
Yeah, yeah, you want to do that. Well, I'll take you off camera as well so that you're safe. Trust me. I'm another person that follows the set. Honestly, do you have no idea what's going on in here with this puppy? Okay, y'all think puppies are fun? Yeah. Okay, they're great fun. That's a Hoover. That's a Hoover that's been hidden there. So listen, if you guys can like and subscribe, make sure you push this out. All Chloe's links are down in the description too. And she's back from doing laps of the sun. There we go. There we go. There's
I'm
not
not blind anymore.
there's nothing worse than being stuck on a live podcast and then nature just goes ha ha ha.
I thought I was going
Absolutely.
to be okay. I've got to say, and then it's actually got worse and worse. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm just going
Mhm.
to go through it. I'm just going to be, yeah.
No,
But
no,
thank you for
trust me.
noticing.
Ron's got you. Ron's got you. Okay, so look, we're at the point now where you've gone to this traumatic 3 years. Okay, you
Yeah.
had this super cool, super thoughtful detective. You've gone through insomnia. You've been feeling like you don't want to be here anymore. Your daughter
Hmm.
has become your anchor. Sadly, the toxic relationship didn't work out. And what happens next?
So we get to December 2019. My daughter is 2. And we get a court date, and it gets to court. And it was one of these sort of weird things because, again, I was always told, don't get your hopes up. So I thought, oh, it's not going to
Mhm.
get to court. But it did. It gets to court, gets to Crown Court. And it went on for nearly 2 weeks. I was needed first. So I went in, I was there for three days, cross-examined. And again, I think it was the most horrific. I smile. It's not funny. It was like, honestly, like I look back and I think about it.
You can smile. You can do whatever the hell you want. Okay, whatever. If you need to go outside and smash some plates, okay, I'm okay with that too. But it's like the cross examining for 3 days, and I imagine the whole
Mhm.
process for the first 3 years was this better get to court. This better get to court. The
Mm,
minute you were told it was going to court, you were like, oh my god,
yeah,
how has this got to court?
yeah,
Right. So 3 days of cross examining.
yeah.
Yeah, take us through.
There's nothing like it. I can't even begin to explain. It's not like what you see in the movies. And it was funny because I was a mum to a 2-year-old. So I was staying. I had my own place, but I was staying at my parents whilst the court case, the trial was going on. And in the morning, I would wake up, I would come down, I would feed my daughter, I'd be mum mode. And then I would have to go, and my dad would take me, and I would say goodbye to my mum, and I would cry and cry and cry, and I would feel like I became that 12-year-old little girl again. I was like, I need my mum. I need my mummy. I didn't want to go. I've never been so scared in all my life. And my dad would take me to the Crown Court, and I had a victim liaison officer with me, so she would support me throughout the whole thing because my parents were witnesses, they couldn't be there. So I'd get there, and it was in December. It was freezing cold. The place the court was freezing, and I'd be in this little room. There was no heating. I was absolutely freezing. And because when you're nervous and you're anxious, you're like shivering anyway.
Mhm.
And I sat there, and the defense lawyer and the prosecutor came in. I had no idea who they were. They didn't know me. I was a number to them. They came in, they said, right, this is going to happen. We're going to be starting soon. And then they left. I was like, oh my God, okay. And then you go up, and they walk you up, and you go in and you sit down, and it begins. And I first was questioned by the prosecutor, and then I was questioned the next day by the defense. I was asked, I was given 3 options. I could either do it via a live video call.
Okay.
And I was also told that if I did that, the jury doesn't get they don't get the emotion, so it probably wouldn't work for me as well. So they advised me to be in the room. But then I also had an option to have a curtain, so I didn't see him.
Mhm.
I didn't want to see him. I wanted to see him. I didn't want him to see me. So I had a curtain, but he was on the opposite side, and he wasn't far away from me. I could hear him breathing.
Oh my God.
And if I kind of take you back to when it was all happening, he would make me breathe in his ear,
Breathing
but
in
he
your
would
ear. Oh
also,
yeah, I'm
mm,
reliving you telling me it, Chloe. Don't worry, I'm there.
yeah, and he would make noises and stuff, and it took me straight away. I sat down, and it took me straight back. He's a very large man. He was very large back then, and you've got a photo of him. You can see him. He was a very large man, and he was in a wheelchair at this point. So every time he would move, I could hear the squeak of his wheelchair and him breathing, and it just, like, even thinking about it now makes my skin crawl.
Mm-hmm.
But I got through it. I had several panic attacks and ran out several times and collapsed. The prosecutor was okay. Obviously, they're doing it for me. So even though she was hard. Like, she would ask me questions, and she would say, "No, I haven't asked you that." We're thinking, "Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never done this, by the way. I've never been in a court. Like, this is freaking scary. You have a
Mm-hmm.
jury staring at you, 12 people that you don't know. You're having to go through all of these details, really details, really detailed,
Mm-hmm.
all while knowing that a perpetrator is sat next to you that is listening to all of this. You've got the judge staring at you, everyone's staring at you. And I felt like a child,
Mm-hmm.
and it's horrific. And then you get the defense lawyer stand up, and I I cried and I cried, and she basically told me that I was a liar and that it didn't happen, and that I'm an actor, so actors lie, and
Oh,
I've
wonderful. That's
made,
a belter.
yeah,
That's an
yeah.
absolute belter.
I
She's an
remember
actress,
exactly
so
what
she
she
must have made
said.
it all up. That's a
Yeah,
belter.
I
Wow.
remember exactly what she said to me. She said, "Oh, you're an actor, aren't you, Chloe?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, you know, actors have been known to fabricate and to lie, haven't they?" And I said, "Well, I'm not." But she kept on trying to catch me out, and it would
Oh,
always be about language as well.
wow.
So
Wow.
she would say, "This is not what you said he did. This is what he did." And I said, "But it's language. I didn't say that then because I was 15 and I didn't have the language, but the language now I do." So, oh, she was horrific. And there was one point where it got too much, and if you're in a courtroom, you can't leave until the judge has told everyone that they were allowed to leave. And it got too much. I stood up and I ran out, and I collapsed and I blacked out. And
Jesus.
they adjourned, and they let me come back a few hours later. And the judge was amazing. She was so kind and so lovely, and she just kept on saying, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" She was lovely. The defense and the prosecutor, not so much. But anyway, I did my bit, and then I left, and then my mum took to the stand the following day, and then my dad took to the stand. I wasn't obviously allowed to be there. And then the second week, he was on the stand, and I was advised not to go and sit and watch. So I didn't. So for 2 weeks, well, for a week, really, I was like, what's going on? What's being said? And I was constantly asking the detective what's going on, and he couldn't really tell me. And then on the 13th of December, Friday the 13th of December, I get a call from the detective, and I remember exactly what he said. He said, "It's good news, Chloe. He's been found guilty." And it was very like one of those dramatic moments in a film, where people fall to the floor. It was very
Mhm.
much like my knees buckled and I fell to the floor and I started hyperventilating. I had to kind of pull it together because my daughter was there. So I had to pull myself together. Uh, but he had been found guilty. And then on the 17th of December, he was sentenced, and he got the longest sentence that he could have got for for the crimes that he
Uh-huh.
committed. He got 9 years with one extended year. So
That's the
it's not
maximum sentence. I'm sorry. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I've got friends, right, who were done for hacking, right, who got multiple decades. Okay.
yeah,
Associates, I should say, allegedly. And 9 years. I
I know.
mean, great. I mean, listen, that's him done. Okay.
Yeah,
Like he's going to be on a register. He is going to be forever tarnished by his actions. Good result. Good
yeah,
result. But just fucking 9 years.
I know. It's
It's
disgusting,
what?
isn't it?
What?
Hmm.
I mean, okay. Anyway, right. So we've had our Oscar-winning drop into the knees moment. All right, I
Yeah.
think we would all have had that. And listen, did you have yourself an wee cheeky blackout at this point too, Chloe? I think you deserve a happiness blackout too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like at this point. So, like, what was it like when, like, okay, and I mean on like the pressure of everything, the secret that had been kept, and you didn't know if
Hmm.
people were going to believe you. What was the feeling of all of that just disappearing? What was that like? Did you
Well,
believe it? Did you believe it?
this is the funny thing, because when he was found guilty, and not many people, my family knew, but there wasn't like my friend, I wasn't public about it at this point.
Mm,
And I think most people's reaction are, let's celebrate. This is amazing news. This is insane. Like, this is great. This is what we wanted. My reaction wasn't that. I didn't want to celebrate. I remember thinking, why do I not feel happy? Why do I not feel like this is what I wanted? It was a very confusing emotion, but again, going back to pretending and masking, I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Let's open the champagne. This is what we wanted. But I didn't feel like that at all. I felt guilty. I felt, oh my God, I've put a man away in prison. Like, this is huge. This is huge. He is going away to prison for 9 years. This is like, how, what? Have I done the right thing? I felt sorry for him. I felt sorry for his family. I kept on thinking, what's going to happen to his two girls, his two boys? What have I done? He didn't deserve it. Madness. But this is what I was
listen,
thinking.
it's
And
this is why I
yeah.
asked you because it's getting an understanding of the full journey, Chloe, right?
Mhm.
And it isn't like that for people. You know, they don't have this moment of celebration. It is this weird mixture of have I done the right? I mean, obviously you've done the right thing, and he's in
Yeah.
the right place, and we all know that. Okay,
Yeah.
um, but again, it's another part of the process and a part of your story, right?
Yeah. Definitely a huge part of the story. So that was in the end of 2019, and very much so. You get the guilty verdict. It's very much like you get dropped. That's it. You don't hear from the detective. The victim liaison officer. That was it. I didn't. It was very much like, here's a bit of compensation. Sorry for everything you've gone through. Bye. And I was like, what do I do with this information? I don't know how to process how I'm feeling. So jump to kind of February 2020. This is before we all knew that we were going to go into
Mhm.
COVID lockdown.
The Jeremy times, yeah.
Yeah, the really fun times. Um, my daughter was coming up 2.5. Was I was on antidepressant. I went back on antidepressants, anxiety tablets as well. I didn't really know how to process everything.
Mhm.
Um, so again, kind of just going through the motions, waking up every day, doing mum jobs, going to bed, waking up, doing the same mundane thing every day, all while living with this. And I don't think I hadn't processed what had happened to me, really, and I hadn't processed what had happened during the investigation and the court case and the trial. None of it was explained to me. I hadn't gone through it in detail. And then we went into COVID and we went to lockdown, and I didn't see anyone. I wasn't allowed, no one was allowed to see anyone. Um, and this is when my mental health really started to deteriorate. And, but again, because had to be mum, all of that stuff was being suppressed again. I didn't have time for it. I had a 2.5-year-old. No one's got time for anything else but being a mum and looking after another human being. We were in lockdown. We couldn't do anything. I really was struggling, and I did a post on my Instagram in 2020, and it was about what happened to me, but it was just one single post, and then that was it. I didn't talk about it again. And I had a lot of reaction, as you would expect, and then I felt a little bit more of this relief, like, oh, okay, friends that I know, they know. I mean, close friends knew, but I mean sort of like kind of the world, I suppose, knew a little bit more about what I'd gone through, so that kind of helped. And then I was just kind of plodding along. Mental health was getting worse and worse and worse and worse, all while not really addressing it. And then kind of jumped to 2022. I got really physically very, very sick, and I was in and out of hospital for quite a few weeks. And the reason that I was in and out of hospital is because I suddenly got this really weird visual disturbances, really, really severe headaches, like I can't explain, really severe migraines. Like you can't do anything, and I've never really suffered with that before. I thought, what is going on? I then genuinely thought I had a brain tumor, and I thought, my God, I can't see. My headaches are really bad. I'm going to die.
Can
So I
I
went.
ask, was your time in hospital, and I'm not in any way asking about what was
Mhm.
wrong, but was it all like physical health deterioration through mental
Yeah,
anxiety, stress, all of that stuff? Damn,
yeah,
damn.
yeah. It was all to do with the mental load that
Eating
I was
yourself
carrying.
alive.
Yeah,
You were just eating
yeah,
yourself alive.
yeah.
And this is
And
after, and keep in mind, this is after, right? The fantastic news, right? Did
yeah.
you feel, this is going to sound really weird. Did you feel like this huge secret, right? That had been your identity partially for so long. Now
Hmm.
that that was gone and lifted, and you didn't have to mask it, you didn't have to do all the things that you'd done, did you feel lost?
Yeah, 100%. I don't know who the hell I was. I
Mhm,
knew who Chloe was before all of this because it was someone that I'd made up. I'd
mhm,
made in her into the person that I needed to be in order to get through it. As soon as it all come out, I had no idea who the hell I was. I was just mum. That's all I was. I'd lost my identity completely. I did not know who Chloe was. I don't think I knew who Chloe was before, but at least I had some sort of idea, and she was this person that I had become to survive. And now I didn't have that. So I had no idea who I was. I was so lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Acting kind of fell out the window. My relationship was really bad with her dad. I didn't my career was nothing. I was nothing. I didn't know who I was, and it was incredibly confusing. And like I said, I was just getting up every day, just plodding along, just doing a day, going through the day, going to sleep,
mhm.
waking up, going to sleep. It was just this mundane, just getting through. Like that was it. Uh, and it was just anxiety and depression. And there was a moments during that time as well where I had moments where I didn't want to be here. And I had this very one real moment where I went into the bathroom and I laid out all my pills, and I was convinced that I was going to unalive myself. And my daughter was with her dad at this point. So I was not good. I was not good. And
Feels like a
again, though,
little,
I
it
was,
feels like a little ritual, right? Going in
mm,
there, laying them all out, seeing
yeah,
how far you get this
yeah,
time. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Control,
mhm,
control again. The
mhm.
control that
Oh,
I could have.
I get it. Trust me.
Yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so you've done this, you've had this final last realization, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. And then 2022, I got really sick and I was in and out of hospital. And I went to hospital this one day and I thought, I need to go. Something's not right. Something is wrong with me. And I genuinely thought I had a brain tumor. So I was absolutely petrified. A very similar sort of fear to what I had when I was in that courtroom.
Mhm.
Full of fear. There was no room for any other emotion. I was just scared all the time. All the time. I couldn't shake it. Now I know it's health anxiety, severe health anxiety. So I went to hospital. I had a CT scan, no brain tumor, shocker. But they did think something's not quite right because I had very bad vertigo. I wasn't well. I'd lost a lot of weight as well. I wasn't drinking, wasn't eating. So they did another scan. They said, or maybe you've had a small stroke. Obviously, straight away, I was like, oh my God, not a small stroke. Then they said to me, it could be the start of MS. No, it's not MS. So I'm
I
getting
mean, do the
told all of
tests
these
first.
things.
Do the tests first, right?
I know.
And then tell me if I've got MS.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was
Don't be like,
awful.
oh, by the way, here's a whole bunch of nightmares that it might be. Okay. And what we'll do is we'll pick them off one by one and see if it's not them. How about shut up, do the
And just
test,
do
and
it.
tell me
Yeah.
what I've got? How about that?
Yeah, that was pretty much it though. Within about a day, and then I was admitted, and then I saw a neurologist, and he said it's
Mhm.
migraines. It's just migraines, and I said it's not just migraines. And you know your body. I knew something was not right,
Mhm.
but all my tests were coming back normal. My brain was normal. I didn't have any of those things, but my headaches were bad. I started getting really bad back pain, neck pain, tinnitus. My vision was really bad. Shakes, pins and needles all over my body, brain fog. I wasn't able to get my speech out properly. Vertigo, sickness. I honestly, anything that I could name, anything, I had it, and that's not normal, right? It's not normal. And but because all my blood tests and everything was coming back, I am normal. Everyone was going, "You're fine. It's migraines," but I just knew it wasn't. So anyway, I took some to myself and I did a little bit of research and I found that I could potentially have this condition called visual snow syndrome. Now, no one's heard of it. I think it affects like 2% of the
This is
population.
going
It's
to be one of those
really,
things, right, with a really timid sounding name that is catastrophic, right?
that's
Is
horrific. Yes.
completely catastrophic. Let's call it snow something. You know what I'm saying? Let's give it a wee nice name
Yeah.
like that.
Visual snow. Yeah, no,
Uh-huh.
it's not
Visual
that.
snow, is it? Uh-huh. Because in my head, I'm thinking you're seeing snow, okay? But in
Yeah.
actual fact, you're not having a
It's
good time. So yeah,
everything. Yeah.
take us through snow vision. Come
Oh,
on.
it's horrific. So it's kind of the reason it's got the visual snow name is
Mhm.
because my vision, the only way I can describe it is that if you look at a TV that's got the static,
Mhm.
it's like that
Okay.
in my vision field. So when I look at a white wall, all I can see is static,
Oh
and
wow.
everything moves, and I get floaters, I get trailing.
Wow.
I have really bad night blindness as well. So I'm a lot better now because I've got used to it. My brain has adapted to it. But that's what visual snow syndrome is. And I managed to find a neurologist in London who deals with it. And I was like, I'm going to go and see him. Luckily, I had the means to go privately. So I went to see him. He did some tests. Yep, you have visual snow syndrome. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do for it. It's like, cool. But having a diagnosis, I was like, okay, I'm not mad. I'm not going crazy. I actually have something.
Yeah.
Okay. But being told that it could get worse, there's nothing they can do with my health anxiety. Oh
Mhm.
my, I spiraled and I got really mentally sick. I didn't eat. I wasn't drinking. I lost about a stone and a half, and I'm already quite small.
Mhm.
Um, I wasn't sleeping. I had really bad insomnia. I wasn't showering. I hadn't showered for weeks. Disgusting. I wasn't brushing my hair. I wasn't brushing my teeth.
Listen, if this was lockdown,
No,
anyone
no,
that's judging you for that.
this is when 2022, so we weren't in lockdown.
Okay,
This
all
was
right, a
end
little
of,
bit of judging then, a little bit of
yeah,
judging. Okay, that's fine.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. No,
that's
judge away. So it was bad. Again, I was absolutely petrified of dying, and I was in this
fine.
constant state of fear. I didn't want to die, but also I didn't want to be here because I thought I don't want to be feeling this anymore. I can't be feeling this anymore. I cannot do it. I am so scared all the time. every day I woke up, I just, I can't explain it. It was just, I lived in absolute terror and fear every day. And every night I would go and I wouldn't sleep. So eventually I got so bad because I wasn't eating and sleeping and drinking. I got really sick, and I had panic attack after panic attack. And my mum suddenly went, I don't know what to do for you anymore. And she called an ambulance, and they came. They took all my vitals. Obviously, everything was fine. It was all here,
Oh my God.
and they said, no, we're going to take you in, and they took me in. And the hospital that I went to, they don't have a psychiatric unit anymore, so they had to lock me in this room in A&E, and they literally put me on lockdown for the night with nothing. They locked me in this room. I had my phone and I had water, and that's it. And it was horrific. And I was like, they came and checked on me, but I had basically was having a psychosis,
Yeah.
and I had lost my absolute mind. Um, the next day, the nurse came in and she said, we are going to keep watch over you, but there's nowhere for you to go. We don't have a unit. We don't have a ward. You have to go home. I'm going to discharge you. But before we do, you have to eat and drink. And I said, I'm not. And she said, and then I remember her saying to me, Chloe, if you don't drink or eat, you are going to die. You need to, she said, you have to. And that kind of realization, I thought, oh my God, I can't. I've got my daughter. I can't do this. What am I doing? So I then slowly got a bit better. It took a long time. It took maybe 6-7 months. But because of that, I then was given a therapist with the NHS, and she is now still my therapist to this day. I see her every 2 weeks, and I have healed from that. I still have visual snow syndrome, but it's something that I learned to deal with. My health anxiety is still there, but it's manageable. I manage it. My social anxiety is still there, but I manage it. I have, since 2022 until now, I have become someone that I don't think I would recognize. If I look back at who I was in 2022, I was a shell of a person. And like I said, I wouldn't be doing this right now. There's just absolutely no way. I didn't think I was going to survive. The night, I used to think I would die in my sleep.
That whole
And
period where you went from, I mean, when you were from that whole period when you ended up in that hospital room and you were told basically eat or die, does that just feel like a 24-hour blur, that whole
yeah,
period? Yeah, it does. Yeah, because
yeah,
yeah,
I
because you
didn't.
don't. Yeah, you just don't. Because I mean, when people hear, you're in a hospital room and you're being told eat or die, like you're gonna have some noticeable effects that you should notice about yourself. But
Yeah,
when you say you've never showered, you've probably not looked in a mirror, you're going through the
yeah,
motions, like it's just that those periods when you look back, it must be so hard to
mm,
decipher a week, a day, a month of that period. It
yeah,
just seemed like one huge, just splodge of rawness and
hmm,
confusion because psychosis is like that.
yeah,
It takes you completely away from yourself.
yeah.
And
Scary.
it's mad that that was 4 years ago, mate. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to lie. Like, it's mad. Like, to think that that was only 4 years ago. And, you know, let's just do the timeline here. Okay.
hmm
So, how many years from when you got the conviction, right,
hmm
to the till like the end of 2022? Was it five? Was it 2 years, 5 years? How many years?
It was, so the conviction was end of 2019.
Okay, so like 3 years.
And yeah, so it was nearly 3 years, because then I had my psychosis. I
Mhm.
went crazy in August 2022. So yeah, it was
So
just under 3 years.
that's your body processing the tail end of the trauma, right?
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Stack on top of that 3 years of investigation.
hmm
Okay, and then everything that came before it. It's just amazing that you're still sat here.
Yeah.
It really is. It really, really is. You know, and I mean, if your mum hadn't called that day, right? and said, "Oh, we'll see how she is on Monday," if it's a Friday,
Mm.
metaphorically speaking. That might be it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a really weird situation because I didn't want to be here, but I was absolutely
Mhm.
terrified of not being here.
Do you know, when you said your mum didn't know what to do with you, that must have been the single most heartbreaking moment in this whole journey for your mother.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that the one thing she never thought she would do, which was not be able to help you, turned out to be the thing that saved you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't actually thought of it like that, yeah, but yeah.
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 I mean, it's because, and I'll tell you something else. I don't know how your dad's processing his guilt, but I imagine that's a whole other.
Yeah.
There is a bunch of psychiatrists making they're getting some checks, I would imagine, right? Because that's a whole other freaking podcast. That poor
Yeah.
man processing that. Um, but I just wanted to make that comment about your mum because often parents in that situation who don't know what to do are scared. They're scared to say,
Mm.
"I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help her," and they feel like by them making that call, it's them betraying you. It's
Yeah.
like, you know, so if your mum has ever felt like that, don't ever feel like that. There's a good chance, okay, that phone call is the reason why we're all here today. So,
Yeah, I think so.
mhm,
I definitely think so. Yeah, if it wasn't for that, I don't think I don't know.
mhm.
I don't know. It's yeah.
Well, look, you've let take us through the recovery, right? Because obviously, um, that'll have been super fun. Realizing that you were a day away from death and you're coming out of psychosis and you're like, wow, that smell is me. And you move on from it, right? But like, what was that process like? I mean, was it like the first time where you felt like you were actually putting down fixed like path in front of you that you felt like this was going somewhere? Or was it still at that point just getting told, what you need to do in order to feel better and things like that? What was that process like?
It's a weird one because it took a very long time to come out of that fear. I remember thinking, I've got to do something about this. I can't keep doing it. And my sister was actually getting married at the end of August, and I was a bridesmaid. And I thought, at one point, I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did. And I cried all the time. And I remember having a panic attack at her wedding. And it didn't just go overnight. Coming out of that hospital wasn't like, oh, okay, I need to be okay now. It took several months,
Mhm,
horribly, I'm gonna say maybe even a year to a very pinnacle moment, was in September 2023 when I got a new job. So that it was a year where it was healing and recovering and showering and brushing my teeth again, and actually wanting to be here and coming
mhm,
out of that fear. It took a long time to come out of it. The headaches, the visual snow was very much there. The headaches were very much there. I was really trying to establish how to deal with this diagnosis and everything that I had to go along with it. The visual snow got worse. The anxiety was still very much there, because of the visual snow syndrome. So I'm going to say, yeah, it took nearly a year, and there were many times, and I sometimes I would record myself because I wouldn't believe that I would be having these panic attacks. So sometimes I would record myself doing it, and the next day I would look at it and I'd be like, I don't remember that. I don't remember doing that, and like not sleeping. And so
mhm,
it took a long time. It did take a long time, but I go back to being a mum, and
mhm.
I think that being a mum is one of the most powerful things. And I'm not saying everyone feels this because they don't, and we know that but because I have such this amazing bond with my daughter, because I had her, I had to do it. I had to just get on with it, and I had to be okay because
I get it.
what what was the alternative? Like I wouldn't be a mom, and I couldn't have that.
Well, keep in mind
So
as well. when you were a little girl, okay, being told that you're, you know, not good enough and having to do all this masking.
Mm,
If you didn't have that little girl, would you have found a part of yourself at that point that you would have thought was worth saving?
yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's and I get the neurodiverse mind is a little different from the neurotypical mind, and finding things about ourselves that we can see as valuable at our lowest times is hard. It's very hard.
Mm, yeah.
Um, but things that are bigger than us, our children, our pets, our parents, whatever, are often the things that are the little threads that keep us here.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how at every single stage of your story, once you'd freed yourself from this, has this weird knock-on effect that seems to have kept you here.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
freaking universe is mad.
I believe so.
It
Yeah.
really is. It really is. All right. Okay, listen, I'm side questing again. So 2022, about a year,
Mhm.
you started to find Chloe again, right? Or rediscover Chloe, redefine Chloe.
Yeah.
Um,
Rediscover. Yeah.
yeah, because the mum side of you, no problem. I mean, you've solidified that the bond with
Yep.
your daughter, everything's good there. So finally, it's some you time, right? It's like the this is like 16-year-old you, okay, being able to decide what she's going to do, but you're
Mhm.
now an adult and a mom. So what was that like for the first time? What was the first? What would you, did you feel a calling once you found yourself?
Yeah. So I think the calling was in 2023. So it had been a year.
Mhm.
I got a job at the NSPCC because it was a
Hmm.
huge sort of full circle moment. Like I owe so much to them because that person that I called on that phone to then going to the police and kind of, starting this whole thing. So I got a job at the NSPCC as a fundraiser. I absolutely loved it, and I hadn't done fundraising before. I'd been to loads of events. I love events and things, but I'd never done it. And they sort of took a chance on me, I suppose, because when I did the interview, I was very open and honest. And I said, this is why I want to come and work for you because this is what happened to me. I'm a survivor and I want to work for a charity that ultimately saved my life and helped me get to where I am now. So I got the job and I absolutely loved it. I was in an amazing team. I had a fantastic manager, amazing colleagues, and I loved doing what I did. I loved raising money for a charity that meant so much to me. And then being there, they had a part of the NSPCC which is called the Real Life Story Department, and they have what they call LEAs, which is a lived experience advocate. And I clocked onto this and I investigated a little bit more, and I reached out to someone within that team, and I said, I'm a survivor. I'd like to be part of this, and she said, amazing. And I then got my first speech where I go to an event and I stood up and I talked about what happened to me in order for people to then raise money for the NSPCC. And it was the first time where I stood up on that stage and I thought, wow, this is what I need to do. This is what I need to stand up on this stage and tell my story in order to help other people. Because after I did that speech, I had so many people come up to me saying either me too, or I knew someone, or this happened to me, or you're so brave that my story affected so many people in so many ways. And I thought, this is what I need to do.
Mhm.
This is my calling, I suppose. This is
This is your
why I,
this is your breakthrough. This is when
yeah,
you have finally spent all those years running full pelt through
mhm,
trauma door, trauma wall, trauma wall, trauma wall, trauma wall, and you finally break through that last wall,
mhm,
and it's like everything that previously dragged you down and was eating you alive is now weaponized by you. And that is the breakthrough. People talk about recovery, and you don't get over anything, you break through it. And that was your moment.
yeah, definitely. Again, I hadn't really thought about it like that. Yeah, the breakthrough moment, absolutely.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was like, this is what I want to do. So I carried on working for the NSPCC. I was there for 18 months. I loved it. And I did a lot more. I did a few other speeches for lots of big events. I did the biggest one. I spoke in front of 900 people. It was huge. It was insane, and I loved it. And I think also having my background in acting, I've always been quite confident, even though I'm very introverted and very shy. But standing up in front of a whole room of people that I don't know and I don't have to actually speak to, I'm actually really okay with that. But put me in a room and I have to speak to people. Oh my God,
Is
anxiety,
that,
anxiety, anxiety.
is that because it's not about you when you get on that stage anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even though it is about me because I'm telling my story, but
Oh no. I get no. The whole thing is about you, right? But
yeah,
what gets you up there is
yes, I see
everyone
what you mean.
else.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Do you think because of that? Because again, right, when we talk about neurodiversity, right, we do gravitate towards these things that are for others sometimes, right? Even though we're at the center of it all. It's almost like things become bigger than us and now we're just
hmm
being pulled along on the ride.
hmm
And what was it like for the first time when you stood up, right, and gave your first speech? What was that like? And obviously, people telling you how much you've inspired them or helped them. That must be the fire now that fuels
yeah,
everything for you. Yeah.
100%. It was that kind of ah, I'm not the only one.
Hmm.
I'm not on my own because again, I think a lot of survivors, it's a very isolating place to be. You do feel like you're the only one, even though you know there's other people out there. We don't talk about it. We don't shout about it. And I thought that's why I've got to do this because I have to help other people find their voice just
Hmm.
like I have. I was silent for so many years and it nearly killed me. If I can help one person, two people, 500 people, 1,000 people, whatever, I've done what I need to do. Because if that one person hears me and says, me too, that's how I feel. Oh, maybe if she did it, maybe I can do it. Or if that's how I talk about a lot of the things on my social media, I talk about how the CSA have affected me, and I get so many people messaging me saying, "You explained it in such a way. This happened to me, and I don't feel like so strange anymore. It's not just me. I feel like that. I felt like that. That's how I reacted to it. That's how so it just makes everything so much less alone." And
About
yeah,
a million times less alone, I would imagine. A
yeah,
million times, especially for these poor men and women, of course, but
hmm
mainly women, you know, going back to their 8-year-old self, 10-year-old self, 11-year-old self, you
yeah,
know, I don't think I don't think somebody like you could ever really have it put into words what your story will do for people.
no,
I think it's, you know, it's it's easy to just sort of be like, you know, people feel less alone. I think it's cosmically so much greater than that. And I think that's partially down to how you deliver your story, Chloe, and the way that you articulate yourself and how honest you are about pitfalls and how you feel about yourself and moments you've been proud of and moments you've not been proud of. Because I think encapsulating that entire reality really solidifies that you feel like you're looking back. It must feel like you're looking back on memories of people that you don't recognize about yourself,
yeah,
you know?
100%.
And I think when we go through that breakthrough, we are now a new person. And
hmm
all that came before that breakthrough is it's 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 strangers almost,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I don't recognize myself.
Mhm.
I don't know who those people were.
Mm.
It was me,
It's
obviously,
because it's
but
'cause the masking.
yeah, yeah, I was very good at it. I still am, and I still sometimes do. I don't think that will ever go. I think that is the neurodiverse part of
Yes.
me. Uh, it will never go away. I'm very good at it, but
That's how
yeah,
we're gonna rise up over the regular folk, Chloe. Okay, that's how we're gonna do it, right? We're gonna trick them with our masking, right? Let them all think we're just crazy and neurodiverse, but we're all plotting. We're all plotting,
yeah.
right? So,
Yes.
but it must feel nice now. I mean, listen, it's never going to feel nice, but I imagine you must feel wholer than you've ever felt.
Oh, yeah. It's, I've never felt so Chloe than I have since this all began. He took, it's not just what he did and the CSA, he took everything from me
Mhm.
and everything, like my innocence. He took that. He
Your
took
sanity, your innocence, your
my
life,
innocence, my
30,
life.
30
Yeah,
years of your life. Well, let's see, 25, but let's see, into
yeah,
5 to 30, whatever. And then then the rest of it, right? During the breakthrough.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's only now, really, since I mean, I left the NSPCC last where are we? Yeah, last July. And the only reason I left is because they were all having kind of a mix up in the charity sector, and I knew that I was potentially going to be made redundant. So I thought I'll get ahead of it. I thought I loved the idea of being in the charity sector, so I went to a different charity, a fantastic charity, but actually going there and realizing, oh, actually, it's not the charity sector that I want to be in. It was actually because it was the NSPCC and it meant so much to me.
Yeah, of course.
And that's why I was good at it, because I was passionate. And then I went to this other charity, and I'm not saying I wasn't passionate about that charity. It was a very good charity, but I suddenly thought, I don't want to do this.
I
It's
get it.
not what I
I
want
get it.
to do.
Yeah.
So I was there for 3 months, and in November last year, I left.
Okay.
And it was then where I thought, okay, this is now my time to do what I've wanted to do. I had the podcast idea for several years. I just haven't done it. I had my book. I just hadn't done it. I had my script. I had all of these things that I had been doing in the background,
Mhm.
but never had the courage, the time, the capacity, whatever it may be, to pursue it. And then
Mhm.
in November, when I lost my job, I thought, right, I'm going to do it. And since starting the podcast, starting my social media, starting everything that I'm working towards has been the reason that I'm here as well. And it has suddenly gone, that is why, this is my calling. And
Mhm.
even though, and someone asked me the other day, actually, they said, if you could go back and change everything, would you? And it took me aback, and I thought, well, most people would say, yeah, obviously you would go back and change everything and you wouldn't be getting his car. But then I thought about it again, and I thought, no, I wouldn't go back, because what he did was horrific, and
Mhm.
it changed my life and the course of my life forever. But I also wouldn't be here today talking to you and helping all these other people that hopefully I help. So that was a really weird awakening for me. And
Mhm. It's like one of
I
those
have,
mindsets that's like walking over broken glass. Just for
yeah,
everyone, the realization process of it all.
yeah. So
I mean,
yeah.
do we listen? First of all, well done. Okay, live, you've smashed it out of the park. Uh, man, did anybody else come forward? Was there any history of other victims with this guy that you know of?
So I have to be careful
Oh, okay, right.
with not identifying people, but
Okay,
so he, yeah,
yeah, that's fine. Like, you can just
yeah,
leave it at yes. You can just leave it at
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Damn. So imagine a scenario where you hadn't gotten in that car and it was another little girl and she never made it, right? And he never went to court. And just to further back up your mindset there, you know, no one wants it to, no one wants it to happen to anyone. But I
Mm.
think as horrific as your journey's been, look at where you're at now.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, look at where you're at now. And just, I just want to say, how central do you feel your family was throughout all this? The recovery process and all of that?
I genuinely don't think I would have got through it without them.
Mhm.
like I said, I'm very close to my family. My two sisters are my best friends. My mom is my best friend. My dad struggles with everything that happened to me. He does.
Yeah,
He doesn't like
listen,
talking about it.
I can guarantee you he does not like talking about it.
No.
And I just want to say, Dad, listen, I'm a dad, okay? And all those nights where you've sat up going through all the things that you would do, right? I
Hmm.
hear I hear you. Uh, this is not your fault, okay? Dad, this is not your fault. Nobody decides, oh, do you know who I'm going to put my daughter in a car with? That known predator. No one does that, okay?
No.
And I know nothing I can say or nothing anyone can say will convince you that the guilt you feel shouldn't be felt. But this woman here has come through this because of all of you. And trust me, this could have been a very different story for your daughter. So just remember that. And yeah, like I can't imagine what your dad's going through every single day. I really can't.
Yeah, he does struggle. He's one of these men that don't like talking anyway.
Mhm,
He is a boomer and they don't talk. So he does struggle, and he even struggles with me knowing that I'm doing what I'm doing, even though he's happy that I'm obviously
mhm,
in a much better position and much better place than what I was. He still I can't So when I said to him I was coming on tonight, he doesn't want to know because he knows that that's what I'm going to talk about, and he doesn't like it, and he's always struggled. And another thing, like my parents didn't get any support, any help
yeah,
after all of that, and going into court and
mhm,
testifying about against someone that hurt your child. I know I was an adult at the time, but I was a child. They didn't
mhm,
get any support, and it's bad, and I feel like they should. And that kind of suppose it comes down to what I'm doing now as well, and
mhm.
um, potentially campaigning for better help in the justice system, and because
Yeah, because
it's
he
bad.
feels like people are going to ask him. You know, people are going to ask, "Oh, is this your daughter?" and all the rest of it. And he does not know how to process his own
No.
guilt, shame, rage, all
Yeah.
of it, all
Yeah.
of it. You
Yeah.
know, so shout out, Dad, and just remember, it wasn't your fault. It really wasn't.
I hope they don't think it was. I think obviously I don't think that's going
He's
to
your
go
dad.
away.
He's your dad. Trust me. Okay, trust me. Like, if you were on your bike and you fell off your bike whilst he was in charge of the whole bike scenario, he's going to feel like it was his fault. Um, and it's not, okay? But I'm a dad, and I would, oh man, like, I, yeah. So, what's next? What's next for Super Chloe? Like, what is next?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm gonna continue with the podcast that I'm
Mhm,
doing. It's a platform for survivors to come on and share their stories. I'm gonna continue doing that. I have I'm growing my social media. It's
mhm,
growing every day, which is incredible. Uh, I will continue to make content to help others. I potentially looking at doing more speeches and
mhm,
talks and going into schools. That's what I'd really love to do. I would love to use my story to go into schools and talk to young girls and young boys, also organizations to go in and talk about it. I also do a lot of talking about misogyny and SA as well, because I didn't really kind of touch on it, but due to what I went through, I was also raped as well. So it's things that it's like a knock-on effect. And I talk about that and misogyny and men and so it's a lot of things that
right.
I
Just to clarify, the childhood essay and then later in life the graping. Is that what you're saying? Or did this happen? Was the graping included with what happened with you as a child?
know. So the great wasn't when I was a child.
You don't have to go into it.
Um,
I just wanted to
no,
clarify.
it's okay. He he no, he never raped me. He
Mhm. No, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
yeah.
I just wanted to
Uh
clarify
But
because
that happened when I
Mhm.
was in my 20s, by someone that I knew. Uh, kind of going back onto like hypersexuality and my putting myself into situations. I'm not saying it's my fault because it wasn't, but I put myself into situations,
Mm.
bad situations, because of that, and because of the way who I was and the way I was. I think a lot of men just thought that they could, and that's kind of what happened. And I said no, and 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 he didn't listen. So, but that for many, many years, I also didn't talk about that, and I didn't think of that as grape because I thought, well, it's kind of my own fault because I put myself into that situation. And because of who I am and because of my sexuality, well, he obviously just thought that I do it all the time. So, I mean,
Mindset is an absolute son of a bitch, isn't it?
yeah.
Like when you look back at the mindsets we have throughout our life, whether you've been through trauma or not, mindsets, it's bananas where we can get to sometimes. It
Hmm.
really is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sorry, I did not want you to have to talk about that or relive that. I just wanted to clarify if it was
No, that's fine.
two separate things because um
Yeah.
yeah, horrible.
But so I talk about that as well. And um, so yeah, that's where I'd like to go. I'd like to do more speeches, more go into schools, continue with my social media. Uh, and that's kind of where I see it going at the moment. Doing more podcasts like this, getting my story out there, helping people as much as I can. This is what I want to do now. It is my calling. I feel like it. I know that sounds really lame, maybe, but I feel like this is what I meant to do, and so that's kind of where I see it happening. It's don't get me wrong, it's a real struggle because I am funding all of this myself. I don't have any funding as of yet,
Yep.
but
You're
I'm
also in a country that's had to issue a "Please don't R word our women and
yeah,
children" pamphlet,
yeah.
also having to go through the grooming gangs report and going, hmm,
Hmm.
I wonder how much traction I'll get in the algorithm, being that, everything leads back to BlackRock or another one of these evil companies. We're getting a bit tinfoil hatty here, but trust me,
Yeah.
it's very, very interesting
Yep.
how the platforms react to things. Okay.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'll tell you
100%.
this right now. I'll tell you this right now. Okay. As a guy who spent 7 years investigating horrible PDF files, like organized cartel groups that transported people, infiltrating them and shutting their asses down, the government and the platforms could give you the impression, Chloe, right, that they're not on your side. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Allegedly. Allegedly. Um,
Oh
so uh yeah, it's an interesting one.
God, yeah, I
Really.
could talk about that all day long, but
Mhm,
I have to be careful. But yeah, I mean, that sort of stuff just blows my mind.
mhm.
Uh, one thing that I also am working on at the moment is one thing that really grinds on me. The justice system grinds on me, and it's terrible. But one thing that I'm working on at the moment is starting a campaign around allowing victims to see photos of their perpetrators. So, one thing when it happened to Andy is I obviously didn't see him in the courtroom. I chose to have that curtain, but I've asked to see a photo of him and they won't allow me to see a photo of him
Hmm.
and they won't give me a photo. And then I've been told that if I want to see him and want to see what he looks like, that I can request to go. There's another thing that happens as well is that he was on parole last year. He was denied it because he hasn't admitted to what he's done and he still poses a threat to children. So he wasn't released last year, but he's up for parole again this year at the end of in December, even though he probably won't be released because if they're not released the first time on parole, they're less likely to be released the second time, but there's always a possibility. So I was told if I want to see a photo of him, see him and see what he looks like, I can request to be in the parole hearing. But I
Hmm.
don't want to be in a room with the guy. I just want to see a
There's a big
photo of
difference
him.
between a photograph
I
and
just want
being
to see a photo. I don't want to have to be in the room I
also
don't want to do that.
just to see. Sorry, carry on with what you were saying. Sorry, carry on with what
No,
you were
no, no.
saying. I was going to say, do you feel if you had done, do you think you would have won your case if you hadn't been in that room when you done your, because I like the whole, when you had to run out and collapse and things like this, like the physical effect, do
Mm,
you think that because you can't really fake that. and make
No.
that stuff up. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you think that that played a part? And I'm sorry to just completely
No, I think so. I
yeah.
think so. I do, because it's so raw when you're in
Mhm,
there and you've got the
mhm,
jury literally looking directly at you. So yeah, I do think, and I was told, I was advised not to do it via video link,
mhm.
because you don't get
Right.
that the same emotion that you do when you're sitting in that court case, even though it's absolutely horrific and so traumatic.
Does any part of you wonder if that's why they sat him so close to the curtain to draw that out of you?
Maybe, maybe. I mean, it
Because
was
that's like listen,
dreadfully close.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm trying to come up with any reason that you
Mm.
would be in earshot with a curtain up of this guy. Because if the curtain wasn't up, what you doing? Like sitting 2 chairs away from the guy? Like
Yeah,
you see
literally.
what I'm saying? So it makes me wonder, as twisted as it sounds, I wonder if that was done on purpose. Because
Maybe.
if it wasn't, who does that?
I
Like who
know.
does that? Who does that?
I know. I know. I potentially,
Mhm.
potentially, but I don't think they really care. That's another thing. There's no like
They care about
care.
winning. They care about winning cases, right? And that's what
Exactly.
makes me wonder, right?
They care about
Because
that. I'm just a number. I'm just the next on the list.
mhm,
They don't care about me. I'm just
mhm,
someone that they're trying to win a case. That's it.
mhm,
They didn't
mhm.
care. The only person I felt like cared for me was the judge. She was amazing. She was lovely. But everything else, no, I don't
Yeah,
think so.
yeah. The whole experience
The
legally.
whole experience was horrific. It
Mhm,
really was. And like I said, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone. It was awful. And it did give me really bad PTSD. I got complex PTSD from it. So from everything, it was awful. Awful. So I do want to work on the justice system and how they treat victims going through that, because there's just not enough support. But then also going through the parole hearing as well. I was treated so badly last year with the parole hearing. I had one date and they said they couldn't do it because he wasn't available and his psychologist wasn't available. And then they gave me a date and I said I couldn't go, so the parole went ahead without me. And I was working and I knew that the parole was going on without me and I couldn't be there. Then I had to do my victim statement whilst I was on holiday. It was so badly organized and dealt with. It was so bad. And
yeah.
then I did my victim statement, and then the next day, that evening, sorry, he messaged me and he said, I'll have an answer for you tonight. I didn't hear then until the next morning. So all that anxiety that evening, I was like, what's going on? He wasn't released. He was denied, which was a big shock because I genuinely thought that he was going to be let out early, because his health, and he's, like I said, I mentioned, he's a very big man, and he was in a wheelchair, and I thought they're going to let him out early because of his health, but they didn't, because he didn't admit to it. He didn't go through any of the work, and he still poses a threat and a danger to society and to children. So that kind of went wow to me. I was like, oh my god, I have actually done the right thing, even though it's been several years. But that I needed to see that report and go,
Mm,
actually, I've saved so many children here.
mhm.
Like, I've done the right thing.
That's yes. That's
Yeah.
exactly it. And it
Yeah.
only took like what 30 years. Only took 3 decades of process and trauma, the legal system, the justice system, the psychological breakdowns, the
Mhm.
becoming a mother, the toxic relationships, the bed hopping, the drinking, all of that. But you know what we want to hear about now? Princesses. Now, listen, before you say anything, right? Before you say anything, was your hair this color when you were a princess?
Well, I wore wigs,
You wore
but
wigs.
my hair was this color, but I wore wigs.
You wore wigs. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. So what princess do you guys think that Chloe played in the side chat? We will get to that right at the end of the show. But if there's any advice, right, that you could give to anyone who's watching right now, who's gone through what you've gone through. In fact, where is the website? Here's the website right here. Uh, what do you want to tell them if they are sitting, perhaps gone through what you've gone through? What would your advice be?
My advice would be to, if you've gone through something similar to me and you haven't yet spoken out, my advice would be to find someone that you trust, because if you're going to say what happened, because I think you should, because it helps. It helps holding on to it. You've heard my story. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. But I also know how difficult that is, because as a survivor, you hold so much shame, you hold so much guilt, you hold so much doubt, and you're so worried that people aren't going to believe you. But they will. I will. If you want to speak to me, reach out to me. I'll believe you and I'll help you through it. I'm not a therapist at all. So don't, I'm not. And I say that to people as well. But even just to hear and have someone on the other end to go, I get it. I understand. But I think my advice would be to find someone that you trust, say it to that person. And if you feel confident enough and you feel brave enough, then go to the police, and it will be okay. It will be okay, because I'm okay. I'm okay. And I'm survived and I'm surviving, and it will never be completely okay, and you will never completely heal from it. Like, healing is linear. I have bad days, I have good days, but I would say find someone that you trust and tell someone, because it will help. Even if you don't do anything with it for days, weeks, months, years, it will help. Yeah. I'm not sure if that's great advice, but that's something that
I'm with you. I'm with you. Now, so I'm sitting awkwardly because my dog just started pooping on his puppy pad as you were talking, right? And I'm so sorry. I've got a smile. I'm doing this, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta hold it in. So
that's amazing.
Fantastic.
Great timing.
Brilliant. Okay, well, listen. My money was on Belle from Beauty and the Beast, right? That was my money for the princess you were playing. I think a lot of people are saying Snow White. We need to know which was the princess.
Okay, so I played a few. Okay. I wasn't Belle. Because in Disneyland you have to be a certain height as well. So I'm quite small. I'm 5'2", teeny tiny.
Teeny tiny.
So no, I wasn't Belle. She's technically not a princess, but I played Wendy from Peter Pan.
That's not Wendy's not a princess. Can't come in
she's
here.
Still Disney.
Oh, I was a princess. Lies. Okay, the whole thing built on lies.
I also was Ariel, and I also was Tinkerbell, and I also was Alice in Wonderland. So I did a few of them.
Tinkerbell. Okay, Alice. So no princesses. Exclusively
Ariel.
No princesses.
Ariel's a princess. Ariel's a princess.
Okay.
She's a princess.
Yeah, she is. She's
a princess.
Okay. Oh, you narrowly. Oh, that was.
She's a princess. Close.
Yeah, she is. No, Ariel is a princess. She is.
She was my favorite.
Yeah,
she was my favorite. Although actually being Wendy was pretty cool, because I always had a Peter Pan with me, and we used to just run around Disneyland, and it was great fun.
Yeah. Plus.
But yeah, Ariel.
Teety Totty 5'2" nailed with a
and Tinkerbell was really fun as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And I mean, what was that like? I mean, let's just talk about it. I mean, you must have loved it, right? I mean, that must have just been, as a neurodiverse person, dress up as whimsical characters and then being handed a paycheck every month. You must have been like, this is
it was really fun. It was really fun. It was great. I had the best time, and I wasn't just princesses. I was also in the characters. So I played I was Mickey, Minnie, Chip and Dale.
How hot?
It was so hot. But actually, it was in the winter, so it was. But how they do it in the summer, I don't know.
How do they do it hot. In Orlando at any point of the year? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And what is the weight of these suits like? I mean, they look.
Oh, they're heavy.
Yeah,
they're heavy. Yeah, you have to wear like they go on your shoulder, and it's a whole thing. But you have to do loads of training. It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. I loved it.
It sounds awesome.
I love Disney. I'm a Disney fan, so anything Disney.
Listen, we all. What are you saying? I'm still live, pal. You just need to keep yourself amused for 5 more minutes. I think we all have a special place in our heart for some. Listen, once you take away the craziness of Disney and all of the conspiracy facts, like we're still allowed to enjoy some whimsical stories. And
yes,
I think we all have one or two that we find special. So listen, like Chloe, I'll be honest, your story was unbelievable, and I think the fact that you lost your mind 4 years ago, right, and you're now here smashing it, right? Just awesome. You should be really proud of yourself. Like
Thank
you
you.
should be really proud of yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because I'll tell you now, that little girl of yours is going to grow up feeling just oozing pride for her mother. And I can tell you that because
Thank you.
you are going to save so many young Chloes.
I
You know,
hope so.
you really are, you know.
I hope so.
So, yeah. Look, I'm going to close the show, but don't leave. I want to speak to you
Okay.
after the show, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, look, listen, all of Chloe's links are in the description. Make sure you go and support her across all the platforms. Once this is uploaded as a video, you will see a collaboration button. Please go and follow her on her own podcast. And I'm going to go, I think everyone's going to go and process just everything.
Yeah.
Because we all know these horrible things take place. And we all see the horrible effects when it makes the news. And sadly, you never really hear of the happier endings. It's never any happy endings, but you know,
I know what you mean.
you get your breakthrough. Listen, I'm going to Texas. Okay, my eyes are burning. This is why we're rapidly closing. Okay, like I can feel the enamel peeling off my teeth as we speak, brother. So, like, you just remember how well you've done and where you could have.
Thank you.
Okay, and your mum and your dad and your whole family. You guys need to remember the part you played in keeping this woman alive. And just an incredible story.
Thank you so much.
So look, stick around. But you guys who are watching at home, Sean will be live in about 40 minutes. MK Ultra, and I'll be back tomorrow, 2:00 with the Daily Show with Paula. That'll be live in the next couple hours. I just need to get the thumbnail up. So thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your support for Chloe and listening to her story. Make sure you share it out absolutely everywhere. And of course, just one more time, the Be Brave Project, the BeBraveProject.com. There we go. Nailed it.
Yeah.
Go and check it out.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And listen, we'll see you all in the next one. Thank you all for being here. And cheers. Like and subscribe. That was